You are listening to the voices of the... Wait. Did you take the wrong turn? This is AmeLynn's Corner of Chaos. Are you sure you're prepared? Either way, welcome.
In tonight's episode, we are talking about the working life, the house market, zombies, drugs, astrology, zombies, covens, friends or friends, vampires, and decks. Enjoy!
Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of AmeLynn's Corner of Chaos. It's just Amelie and me tonight. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my god, we just started talking about how we're exhausted and tired and yeah, it's a thing. But if I were to go into it, then it would just basically just me being venting for probably like half an hour or so. But in the
probably butting in and counter-venting.
Oh, it's beautiful. Counter-venting is a great thing. No, I can just say as much that my coworker has been on vacation for, first it was me for 2 weeks, and I was her for 2 weeks, right? And it was okay for some of the time because we are a very small team, right? So we just maximum 5 people, and it's 3 vets and 2 assistants, and I'm one of the assistants. So the first week was fine because it was just the vet and me and just 2 people. That's great. That's a good balance. And then last week, my other coworker was gonna come back, and she is supposed to have a half a position of a vet and half position assistant sort of thing. So she's supposed to help out when needed. And the week looked like her coming into work on Monday, her being sick on Tuesday, her coming back in sick on Wednesday with things like, it's like, she used like all the medication you can do, and she had nasal spray and whatnot, and ebooks and blah blah blah. And then she's doing reception and she's not wearing a mask, and I'm like, it would be a good idea to wear a mask, in case there's people who have bad immunity immune system, like my best friend. If somebody coughs on her, she will get sick for 2 weeks basically. So
you don't sneeze all over the keyboard.
Yeah, and that. And then she's like, yeah, but it doesn't look worse when I'm wearing a mask. And I'm like, girl. She's like, okay, I can do it. So she did do it. It's fine, okay. But then the next day, her kid was sick. I mean, bless them, right? And so she obviously got the kid back. So she worked for 2 days out of the week, and luckily, so far, none of us got sick. So that's okay. But we expected a bit more help, also because somebody who should not be named or is named because her set up stuff on us that is very difficult to do if it's just 2 people working there. So we were kind of dependent on her being there-ish. Anyway, we managed. And then today, the rest was supposed to come back. So suddenly we're 3 vets. And then somehow my other lovely coworker did not show. And we were like, where is she? Is she sick? Did something happen? And the one who was on holiday. And then later she says, oh, no, I was supposed to come back tomorrow. I'm sorry, there was a misunderstanding. So that's okay. But the thing is that, and today I was the only assistant with 3 vets. So I had triple the work. And the lady, the lady, she's a friend, and I like her as friend, but I do not like her as a colleague. She's supposed to pull some weight. And when I knew that Claudia wasn't coming in for work, I'm like, we gotta pull some weight here because I cannot do this all alone. And they're like, And who's doing all the stuff? And it's like even small tasks, like, hey, the washing machine needs to be done. It's like, yeah, 2 hours later, the washing machine still is like filled up. And I'm like, I do absolutely everything. I was like doing 5 things at a time, and she's doing some reception and she was doing some emails. But even then, when she's doing that job, I'm still sitting there. Oh, there's some emails to reply. Oh, there's some people to call back. Then this shouldn't be like a thing that still has to be done. So I was like so done at the end of the day. It's just like,
you're like, should I maybe call in sick?
I was like, today. And then I told my coworker, so this is what happened. I'm so done with my nerves. And she's like, yeah, this was what it was like when you were gone the entire time. And I'm like, how did you not kill her? Like, how? You're just so good. That's me. This is my stuff.
Yeah, this is, I had days like that back in the day. I'm just lucky to work from home at this point, so I don't have to face-to-face deal with things.
Yes.
So it kind of takes that kind of stress out of it. But I think I get working from home. I love it, but at the same time, because it's so boring and the tasks are so repetitive, my brain just shuts off.
Right.
And I just go into this kind of numbness. And when the day is over, it's almost like I just feel exhausted from just that. It's not ideal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a it's not like a big problem and issue as such, but I think as a person that absolutely hates routine, if I do the same thing every single day for too long, it kills my soul. And I think my soul is just a little bit slightly dead now.
Yeah, I get them. But it's like, I mean, with us, it really switches. Like, if the balance is off, then it's either like it's too much. Like, if the balance is just right, it's great. If the balance is off, it's either too much and it's like close to being burned out. If it's on the other side, then it just gets boring. And then I'm also at the point, like similar to you, where it's just like I just don't, if you don't do anything the entire day or very little, it's just like such a drag. And then also the brain just goes lying someplace. So some stimulation is great with a little bit of rest in between. Amazing. And normally we get that, but lately it's just not been that.
Yeah. Do you get those days when you feel that you've been working a lot, and even though if you're really, really tired, you don't want to go to bed straight away, you need to have few hours of doing
Yeah. No, I that's me. Like I can't. I mean, if I were to be super disciplined in that, which I'm not, I kind of could, but then I wouldn't fall asleep anyway. So I need so much time for myself to energize up. Introvert. So it's like to energize and to get back into myself that I need at least 2 hours, like after anything before I go to bed, just to get into that. And then I'm like, okay, now I've done my stuff. I have lived a little. I can go sleep.
Yeah. If I have a day and I don't do something of any kind of interest to me, it's bad.
Yeah, but I mean, it should be. I mean, if you're thinking that we're just, we're used to that we have to go or we have to do work for like up to 8 hours, 10 hours, or how many hours people work these days, which is not natural. And which is, if you're just working or living for the machine, there's no point in living. I'm sorry. So it's like, so
I feel I'm a little bit there questioning myself. What the hell am I doing? What's the point of all of this? And
it's a valid question to ask yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, you kind of know, like, okay, so I have to have a place to live and I have to pay bills, but what am I paying bills for? I think I'm just in a proper. I wish I could come up with a fun, like a holiday to go on or something. But I can't even think of anything interesting because I lost interest of things that I actually enjoy, in a sense.
Well, that's sad.
So it's I'm constantly trying to like the little things. But I don't know why it's so difficult. Specifically this summer, it just feels very difficult to find some kind of balance. But also I think it's my fault because when you work from home, you really raise the boundaries between breaks and I'm at work, I finished work. So if you're constantly in the same space, it gets, I think mentally, you never really leave work.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could have, like I said in the beginning, me and routine, we just don't gel. And if it wasn't like this, I could have probably arranged some kind of, I don't know, routine of now I'm starting work, now I'm finishing and having breaks on time. But yeah, that's not just me. that's not how I do things.
Yeah. No,
My
I mean,
fault.
to some degree, you could also blame the system. Always blame the system.
Yeah. And you know what? The other day, I found a house. I was randomly scrolling on Instagram and they showed this house, this cottage. And I was like, this is beautiful. And it was actually in Wales. And to be honest, it is very expensive, but the price is not expensive for what it was. And I was sitting for a few hours trying to calculate if I could afford to buy it.
Oh.
And I just started crying because if I would ever be able to, for 20 years, I would have to work and pay about £2,000 every single month for all the mortgages and bills and things. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I just can't do it. No.
Yeah, the housing market. I mean, over here, it's insane as well.
But it was the cottage of my dreams, although I can't drive and I would have to be able to drive because it was in the middle of nowhere. But then
or you just get a horse.
Yeah, you know what? I was considering that. I'm like, I can always I mean,
or a
bikes.
donkey. Yes.
A bike is great.
Yeah, sure.
No problem. How many heels they have, I don't know, but a bike is always great.
Few. I think I have a few.
I just started to comparing it to the flat that I used to live in London, which was a studio flat. And they were selling it for £450,000. And this cottage is a 3-bedroom cottage. It's a grade 2 old building, so it's really beautiful in the middle of nowhere. And you have land as well. And it was 230,000.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
It's just crazy to me. That's why I thought to myself, like, maybe I'll be able to afford it. Because that would be so amazing.
Yeah, imagine.
So if anyone knows any kind of side jobs that could earn me a little bit of extra money that is not OnlyFans or feet pics.
I was just gonna say. Okay, not that. I guess it's just like a side, hustling.
But you know that OnlyFans started with like cooking shows and things,
right?
Which is mad.
Yeah, I mean, now it just has this rep of, sex work and all that. But I mean, people could do anything. You could do what we do, like tarot reading on OnlyFans, stuff like that would work.
Shall we do that? Shall we do tarot readings on OnlyFans?
Do OnlyFans. If she spends so much money, maybe we should see a little shoulder.
Look at my pinky.
Yes.
My colleague always used to say, because I always said that there's no way I'll be able to afford a house, so maybe I just have to get myself a van. And he always says, like, well, you can always do OnlyVans. So do maybe it's a thing.
Yeah. That's also a thought that I used to have, I wouldn't because I'm a person, I'm a bit attached to things, being a Taurus, but
I'm a Taurus moon, so I do understand this.
Yeah, right. So I do like to have my space that has a certain size. I mean, it's a small space, but it's still bigger than a van would be. And I have my animals, so the space would be a lot smaller. It's not possible for them to be happy in a small space for a long time. But to have one at the side and be able to go places with it is one of my so far unfulfilled dreams / things I still have to manifest. So that would be cool. That'd be really cool. And then it doesn't have to be big if it's just at the side and I just go for small trips.
Like a little
SUV. Yeah, basically. It's just a little bigger SUV, but something with a bed in it and, stuff.
I've seen in the shops, they have this thing that you can mount on top of the car that is a tent.
Yeah,
and I really like the idea of that.
Yeah, I've seen people use it here in the camping space. There's a campsite, a camping site, just 10 minutes from here, one of the bigger ones in Oslo. So, and I I walk there quite often with my dog, so I see what people do and what they have. So there's a lot of those.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do my driving license for over a year now. and I still haven't filled in the paperwork to actually get the learner's permit because there's too much to fill in.
Yeah.
It's really bad. So when the zombies come, I might be a little bit, fucked, really. But yeah.
You learn by doing, I mean, by then, okay, for one, by then, I don't know how it is in the UK, but with the electric cars, but over here, it's like there's a big percentage of just electric cars, and that's because you just push a button, step on a thing, you will figure it out because you have no clutch. But then again, zombie apocalypse and apocalypse in general, is there going to be electricity? Because if there's not going to be electricity, then the cars are not going to help you very much.
Yeah, no.
Anyway.
I mean,
and yeah,
petrol, would you
it's
have,
also limited.
petrol for, exactly, for a little while. So this is what I'm saying. A bike is a good thing to have.
Just biking away from the zombies. It's like, you can't catch me.
I always been this zombie apocalypse kind of person. And I think many, many, many years ago, it was just like a fun LARPer thing in my head, maybe like a fun thing
live
to, not
action role play.
Exactly.
For those who are not nerds.
A
little bit.
I always had this idea of like, what would I do in a zombie apocalypse? But I find nowadays it feels very realistic. I feel like it's actually possible that it could happen.
I mean, we got to practice a bit with COVID, didn't we?
That's very true.
It was so close. Yeah.
That's very true. And
close.
But when you're looking at these videos from places where they just do a lot of fentanyl, you think to yourself, are we there yet? Maybe, like, what's happening? But
where do people use fentanyl for a while?
I've been listening to a lot of interviews with drug addicts.
Yes, I was just like, like, where does this come from?
It's one of my guilty pleasures. Is that a guilty pleasure? So when I'm working, I like to just listen to something. And I started listening to interviews of addicts of any kind of drugs or alcohol. I just find the story so interesting, and also because a lot of people don't listen to drug addicts. You just see them and you think that they just addicts, and you think to yourself, like, why would you even start? And it's really interesting, the addicts that have been addicts a long time ago, when they are telling stories of obviously how they got addicted and stuff, but what kind of drugs they were. And it's very mad because actually all of them, I was about to say many of them, but I think all of them have said that heroin was actually not that as dangerous as the drugs that are now, which is absolutely mad. So fentanyl is, I don't know how many times, but it's many, 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 many times stronger. I don't know if it's like 20 or 30 times or even more potent than like heroin would be. So you need very little to get high. And also heroin comes from nature, whilst fentanyl is produced in a lab. So this is why it's so dangerous, because it's extremely addictive, and there's a lot of people that overdose because you need the tiniest amount, and if you take too much, then obviously it's very dangerous like that. And the absolutely scariest part, I find that many of them got addicted because they had an accident and the doctors started prescribing painkillers, and many times this is how it happens. That's why it's so scary. And you think that your doctor would make sure that you
have to be really careful. So like I was dating somebody who was an ex-addict or an ex everything, and he's been sober for like over 10 years. But like if he goes to the doctor, and he needs to be really careful and tell them like up front, I cannot take anything other than so and so. It's absolutely nothing. And so that's difficult. Yeah. I also have a friend who had a really, really big accident. She was in a coma for a while before I met her. But in her time after, they gave her morphine. And she just told me that getting off of it. Like she had no prehistory with drugs or nothing after either, so it was purely medical. But even then, like the waning off of morphine was pretty insane. So I'm like, yeah. And my grandfather is on it now, or he, 'cause he's still in this process, this long process of saying goodbye to the world, but he's doing fine. So we really don't know. He's still holding on.
He's got morphine, so he's good.
He's got morphine and he's had the horror trips, and now he's through the horror trips. Now he understands it better or can relate better to the being in a weird space of mind, I guess. But yeah, it's special.
I don't know why. Ever since I was in school, I always been fascinated with drugs, not trying to take them, but reading about what they do to you. I have no idea where it's coming from, but I just always found it so fascinating that there's so many different substances that can just change your personality or change you or change the things you do so much. It's crazy. And I do think alcohol is probably one of the most dangerous ones because it's legal.
Yeah, and it's underrated. It's underrated. It's put on a pedestal. It's like the good thing, like we're just having fun.
Yeah.
And we know that it's from the effects much worse as other things that are not even legalized. Like cannabis, for example, is just legalized some places, and it is much milder for your body. And we know it has really good effects as well on your body. So, but alcohol is the one that's like, oh, let's do that one.
Yeah. And
so many problems with that.
Getting sober, I guess it depends how deep you are into your addiction. Alcohol, it's actually very dangerous. You can't just go cold turkey and quit drinking alcohol if you're an alcoholic. There is like a protocol you have to go through because you can actually die if you don't. Yeah, it's really crazy. When I heard this for the first time, I just thought that was insane, but it's true. And I guess everyone has a different, you're different when you're taking drugs or drinking. Everyone has their own, this is why some people wouldn't get addicted and some people are just very addicted. There's this whole dopamine thing in your brain and all of that plays a role, but it's really it's really weird.
And genetics.
And
genetics,
that too. Yeah, for sure. But I do find it interesting listening to people that have been through so many crazy things.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
They have been clean for years, and you always think like, oh yeah, but drug addicts, they must be very weak. But the people that actually been through this and are living sober and clean lives now, that is
very strong. Yeah,
very strong. You really need to have discipline and character to do it. And and here I am sitting complaining about my work.
I mean, it's all fair. We all have our problems, and some problems are different kinds. It's all right. It's all fair problems. First world, second world, third world.
I've heard this when I was a kid before. One of my teachers said, and I think he was right. He said, that human beings, they cannot live without a problem. So however great your life is, you'll always find something that is a problem because we're naturally solvers. So we like to solve the issues. So if there's nothing to solve, we kind of lose.
It would be so boring. So, I guess it's either then boring or you're on your path to enlightenment, right? Because if you're trying to get enlightened, then there is no problems there, or either everything is a problem, I guess, and you're trying to get above it, or nothing is a problem because everything is nothingness, and So, but I guess if you're not on the path of going to nirvana this life, then problems are probably a thing, and otherwise it would be just event without events. I mean, problems are the fives mostly, right? I mean, also put in the set, but I feel the fives are our problems, and we know that we have to go through, and then we need them to shake stuff up. Tree of Life Kabbalah talk here. Yeah. What we do without. I mean, no, I'm not trying to. I just have my problems at work, so it's fine. So I'm not asking to get more problems. If anybody, I have my problems, it's all right. But I guess it's how we meet them and how we integrate them into our lives. So, because some people focus very much on the problematic side of things in the sense of that it's a negative and that it brings them down, it brings their mood down, it brings their character, their personality just drags them down. And some people are more like, oh, well, it's a little thing. Let's see how we solve it. And then, they're being proactive or active about it and not making it, drag them down as much. So it kind of depends on how we approach it, how big of a problem is, or whether it's really a problem or it's just an interesting hurdle in a way. So I feel like the word problem in itself is kind of problematic, isn't it? Because you're saying like, this is a bad thing. A problem is kind of like, it's a bad thing. We don't want these problems because a problem is a problem, right?
Yeah.
But if you say, it's a little hiccup or, oh, this is interesting turn of event. Let's see how we deal with that. It's a more positive approach to still something that is not smooth, but you're not making it a problem. So I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it depends what it is, and yeah, I think sometimes you can approach it in a more positive way, but then I find it when when a problem kind of reoccurs, then then it gets just too much.
Then it is a problem.
Then it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm not going to be nice anymore.
Oh, that sounds karmic, no? So it just keeps coming back.
Yeah,
something we're not
karma.
something.
No,
well, it's just karma, not bad.
Honestly,
karma.
I can't really say that I have a lot of problems that are like, that you can't. No, I wouldn't say that. It's more. I think it's more about maybe managing time better. I think maybe a little bit about maybe time management and maybe winning the lottery would help a little bit. I'm not talking about gazillion millions, but it would be nice to have that cottage, for example.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I would like to visit you there in Wales. I've always wanted to go to Wales.
3 rooms, you can stay there for as long as you like.
Let's make a big holiday out of it.
I need that cottage. I need it.
Oh, it's great. Oh, but talking of problems, I just keep having to laugh. So big news for me is that I started school again, and because you're all weirdos, right? I'm now going to astro school with Austin Kopuk, and I'm a baby astrologer, right? Like I could look at a chart, I can see some things, but I'm like super at the beginning of stuff. And I mean through tarot, I understand the planets and I understand the signs, and that was like my basis, sort of understand, right? But there's obviously much more. But that's the basis. And then everything like with houses and aspects and no. I'm just like, But anyway, I was diving into that, and I'm not going to go chronological because I never do. But the thing that just made me kind of laugh now on the inside of my head when you're talking about problems, because the things that have been revealed to me within just like 2 weeks of going to school there with the sessions that we've had. And there's lots of live sessions you can just drop in, and people of various degrees and knowledge and wisdom will be there discussing stuff. And the things that I've picked up is like things that people say, like, like if your south node is in second house, that's usually a very bad sign. And, it means like you're probably going to be very poor for all your life. Jupiter doesn't like to be in the 7th house, stuff like that. And just stuff like I pick up and I look at my chart and I'm like, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, the south node, a second in the second house is really, that's very aesthetic. That's very slim. Second house is about money and most money and possessions and stuff. And the south node is kind of about asceticism, not having things. And I'm like looking at my chart, it's like, okay, I see my south node hang out there in the second house. Okay. I mean, it's been a theme, right? And then, there's just like stuff like that. And also like, I think, today I listened to something that it just dropped just like at a side note that I'm not even completely understanding. But like, it's just a side note that Jupiter doesn't really like to be in the 7th house. And I'm like looking at, I'm like, yeah, okay. But, there's stuff like that. And even But even when you have things like that, or like big malefics in big places, there's a certain balance to things. So even when things look a little bit, dire on some aspects, there's other things that are fucking amazing. I mean, I remember that when I was, I think I was 19. I think I was 19 when I lived in Ireland for a short while. And I was hanging out with pagans there, and we used to have like a weekly pub mooch gathering. And one of the guys there, he could read charts. And back then I knew like very little about anything, especially astrology. I knew my own signs and like the signs of my, family, but I didn't even know moon, ascendant, so I knew nothing basically. And he offered to just read our charts, and I gave him my birth chart, and I only remember he looked at it and he was like, wow, and I'm so jealous. I just remember I'm so jealous. I'm still trying to figure out I think I know what he meant, but it depends on what your point of view is too. Like for the point of view of somebody who's spiritual, my chart is amazing because it's going all into depth and it's really deep into all the spiritual stuff and understanding and that is really big and that is amazing. But then on the other side, you're not gonna get rich this life. It's all right. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna try unless people give me money. It's just like it's all right. I make my peace with it. It's even in my astro chart. It's okay. So it really depends. If I were to want to be very rich, then that would make me very unhappy and would be a big problem. I guess that it's probably not going to happen.
I was about to say, I think sometimes money, I'm not saying it corrupts people, but it just makes them, yeah, of course, it corrupts people as well. But besides that, because it's kind of obvious in a way, I just find that some people, they're just better off when they don't have too much money. I think a lot of people get more creative. They use their time in a different way. And I don't know, vices, for example, it would be so easy to get into that. So there's a lot of good things as well with not having like shit ton of money.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you should be able to get by, right? So you don't have to worry, because if you worry too much, then again, you would probably be stifled. But again, that depends on your personality, because there's a few people, I'm sure, that blossom when everything is shit. And that's when they're like at their most. I'm not one of those people. I have to have like a certain stability. Again, I'm a Taurus. Though, right? I need a stability. I cannot just be like thrown like into stuff completely and be expected to swim. And I'm like, oh God. So yeah, it depends so much on what your personality is like.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that really wish that the zombie apocalypse was here now because they just want to like,
go
wreak some havoc.
Stuff. Yeah.
You know, I guess the whole situation, probably after this COVID pandemonium or whatever happened.
Yeah, pandemonium. Close. Yeah, let's take it.
I know few people that just, when you're just sitting there and it feels like something was supposed to happen but nothing is happening and everything is just very aggravating and you can't do anything about it. They're like, well, if there was a zombie apocalypse, at least you can do something about it because you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to
survival is a bit more actively threatened, and then it's like kill or be killed. You can't really do that with like a virus or, with, then it's more like, I'm either being killed or not being killed, but it's way more passive.
I don't know. I don't really want to have a zombie apocalypse, but it also depends on how the zombies are, because if they're quite slow, because to me, logically, a zombie would be quite slow because, I mean, their bodies are deteriorating as they, go out in your brain. So I'm thinking like that there's no way a zombie would be like in some movies when they're very quick and fast. Unless it's some kind of rabies type of thing. I don't know. But then there's other movies that have the creatures are more like vampires, which would be great if it was Anne Rice. I would not mind that at all, because at least, you know, they look good. But then you have the movies where the vampires just look like horrible creatures, and they just are very fast, and you wouldn't stand a chance, really. So I don't know. It will be interesting to see what happens within the next few years.
Yeah, definitely. I remember there was this Norwegian zombie film, and I don't remember what it's called. And I didn't watching it. I didn't actually know it was gonna be about zombies. It's not that old. I think it's just, I mean, not that old. Maybe within the last 5 years or something. 10. You didn't know it was about zombies, but in the beginning, but it's like, you know, some dead just come back. Not all of them, but just some of them. And then it's about it looks into like different people and their, you know, lives. For some people it's like, you know, their loved one comes back. So she just, you know, welcomes her home and she just accepts it and wants, you know, is really, really happy in the beginning, although the other doesn't speak and is quite different. And it does turn bad, like spoiler, like everything, it all turns bad in the end. But in the beginning, it's like this kind of almost romanticism that, you know, or my child is back, my dead child is back, and then they bring them back, and it's like, ooh, happy. But then it turns out not to be so. And I think they're also quite slow. And I mean, you have this kind of brain dead thing, you know, like they don't actually have thoughts. And this is very common in a lot of zombie depictions, right? That they don't have their own thoughts, they don't have their own action, they're just hungry. Right? They're just reduced to that hunger and to that need to survive, and their instincts bring them to, you know, kill humans because that is food and it makes them survive. There's kind of like humanity reduced to the base first instinct of survival through consumption. And I mean, that's very interesting. And then when you met with that, it's really this, okay, the moral aspect you have to face if it's a person that you know, used to know, this morality then with, okay, it's not the same person, but is it really not the same person? Can I save them, or do I actually have to kill them in order to survive? And then that is kind of this interesting switch in perspective or in thoughts, I think, with like this zombie thematic where you make this decision to, my survival is more important than your survival. And with zombie films of the zombie thematic, it legalizes that in a way where there's real life situations that are usually rare, right? I guess, but there might be real life situations where you're faced with the same, where it's like, hey, I actually like this person, but in this situation, it's either me or them, and then you're faced with the same moral issue in that moment. It's like, do I sacrifice myself for this person, or do I sacrifice this person for my own gain? And then that can be seen as very tricky or difficult for people because you have all these institutions telling you what's right and what's not right, and what is ethical and what is not ethical. And you have maybe a difficult decision then. And then people might be, if you then choose yourself, there might be institutions telling you that this is a bad decision. You have to choose the other person. Only that way you will be a good person and go to heaven or other places, right? And with the zombie thing, you circumvent that because it's very obvious that the zombie has its humanity removed. Or in some films, there's this play on, or is it, right? But in general, they have their humanity removed, so it makes it easier to file that decision. Still, people struggle. And then we sit in the screen, it's like, it's a zombie, you know, bash their head in, it's not your father anymore, you know. But being in a situation, you know, would you know how you would be? How quickly you would actually, you know, bash your father's head in, your ex-father. It's like, you know, you don't know until you're actually in a situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, you see that in movies very often, I guess specifically in Walking Dead, because there's so many things happening there. When people have children, for example, they keep them as zombies because they obviously don't want to kill them because they're little kids. And then there's also when they keep all the zombies in a barn because they are the relatives of the people that live in that village. So instead of killing them, they just put them in the barn and they give them, I think chickens, it was chickens, they just give them, basically feed them to keep them quiet, which
That
is...
sounds like a problem, creating a problem.
I mean, yeah, it becomes a problem, obviously. But I guess if, for example, you live in a village that is very religious, for example, you would either think that this person is possessed, so you have to kill them, or it would be you can't kill them because that's a sin to kill a person, even if they're zombies. They're still alive because they're moving. So it really depends on where people are coming from as well.
Depends on the pastor of the village.
Yes, exactly.
And his views, yeah. Again,
Exactly.
the institutions, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's always the one.
Can't be an Aquarius in those kind of movies because you're just gonna be in exile. You just live on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
weirdo living alone in the woods.
Yeah, it's no wonder it's been always my dream to live on top of a hill by myself. I mean, in a castle would be great, but even if it's not a castle, that's fine. It's me and whoever comes to visit, as long as they go home again.
Yes. Don't stay forever.
You can come visit, but you have to go home eventually.
Yes, just promise.
Exactly.
Promise you won't stay. Yeah.
Maybe the animals, some of...
Yeah, they can stay. That's fine.
The cats can stay.
I just had a thought and then I lost it, as it goes with thoughts sometimes. Doesn't matter.
It will come back when you least expect it.
Exactly. No, I was thinking of animals, but I don't know.
I'm waiting for the thought to come back now.
Yeah, me too. I'm not sure whether it was about castles or it was about animal or about living.
Hills.
Living alone, exile. I don't know.
I feel that's how it goes for people like us. If we lived a few hundred years ago and further back, it's the crazy people. You just didn't belong anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, just live on the outskirts of the villages or in the actual woods because you don't really belong. Or, like for my archetypes, I guess it'd be either that I'd be like on the outskirts alone, or I'd be like a super religious, spiritual person, and that one doesn't exclude the other, like being the witch in the forest that's alone, or somebody who's going clandestine into some sort of institution or something and being trained as some more spiritual thing where I'm also apart from the normal life. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think, see, it would be great to, always wanted to find like a circle, a coven or cult or something where you be like, yeah, these people believe in whatever I believe in, and then you just are there with the people. My problem is that I question too many things. And we talked about this before, and I just cannot just simply go along with whatever they do. Or because obviously a circle of some sort, there will be like a leader or someone that that the rules are already established, right?
You'd have to obviously be the chaotic ruler. It has to be you. So you're just like, today the rules are this, tomorrow the rules are this,
and the day after there are no rules. I find it it stagnates my own experience of things when I'm being told what to do and how to do things when it comes to specifically more spiritual things. I think it's great to have like a mentor or someone that can guide you, but that is supposed to be more of a guide so you can develop your own senses, so to say. I just find many times when groups, and even if it's like witchy covens and things. There's just so many rules. So it just becomes becomes like a religion in a sense, where you have to follow certain things, and there will be things that you would just follow just for the sake of it. And when it comes to spiritual things, I don't want to do things for the sake of it. I need to do it because I want to do it and because it feels right or I believe in it. But if I just do things for the sake of it, it's just my ego wanting to fit into a group somehow. So I don't want to be doing that. You have to do that at work. You have to do it, when you go out among people. And when it comes to something that is very important, in my opinion, I don't want to be just doing things for the sake of it. So I just rather live by myself on that hill.
Yeah, it's that balance that's quite difficult, right? Because I mean, if you're somebody who loves rules and loves to, just follow them, that's great. If you're a little bit different, then the thing is that, okay, if you want to belong to a group, and if there are too many rules, then yeah, you might feel stagnate, and okay, maybe this is not what I want, or maybe I don't feel like I can express myself fully. But if there's absolutely no rules, then these structures are not really structures, right? And then they're very easy to fall apart because there's nobody to hold the structure together. So to find like a certain balance where you can be one small group where it is being held together, but is also not restrictive. It's not super easy, I guess, but it is possible. And I feel with a lot of these modern structures that we're having, it makes it easier. And I mean, that depends again where you live and how accessible it is, right? Because what is possible here in us to a certain degree, but it's also not like big. But I suspect in the bigger places or there anywhere is where it's just like basically open, more like open covens, or not necessarily like covens is very like Wicca kind of, or idea, but just groups of people who come together to celebrate anything, pagan, heathen, or whatnot, where it's like semi-open. So it's like people, and they come to a ritual, or they come to an event if they want to, and then they're like a group under certain rules or understandings for like the event, and then they go separate ways again, and then they just come and go as they want. So it's less rigid in a sense, but it also doesn't have this romantic idea of that, it's you and the coven in secrecy, and you're maybe like 5 people, and it's just you. That's very different, right? Because then you have that. It's pros and cons for everything, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's a very romantic idea. And I mean, I'd also like having your group of people where just everybody has like their role and everybody is like special, and where somebody can just be a crazy Aquarian witch as well. And that's fine. You should be like in a group like that, or anybody should be like in groups where whatever you bring to it is valid and evaluated and validated and whatever, all the valley things for what it brings, and not trying to fit into a very rigid structure. And I feel like it's more natural that way, and I think it's more from in animist structures. I think it might be much easier because it's more acknowledged maybe that everybody is different, and the different what I want to say, essences make it more alive. And I'm thinking very like Sagittarius or alchemy, blending things together, to create a bigger something. Yeah, where it's just a natural flow. Or, you have the archetypes in like any witchy show, right? Where you have like one witch who's more like this and another witch who's more like this. You always have one that's like a bit crazy and fiery and very active and very like too much like rah. And then one who's more like, let's think about this, and is very booksy and all that. And then maybe one who's a bit ditzy and, so you have these archetypes. And I mean, ideally, it would work out if they just like come together.
Think back in the day, if you watch something from the 90s, for example, 80s and 90s, I think they're very good examples. Let's take Friends. That is a very good example, because you have a group of people, they're very different, all of them, but they get along, and they
synergy.
They like each other's quirks, but they also have the capability of being, how to say, you can tell someone the negative sides of your quirks, and that person doesn't get offended because they already know that this is their quirk, and they feel like they do belong in the group, and they know that, that they are amongst friends and they feel loved. But everyone knows the different sides of the person, whether it's good or bad. You're allowed to speak about it in a bantery manner, maybe, like, you can have good banter, you support each other, but you also can tell each other if something is negative, whatever. I find nowadays groups are more about, they all say anybody is welcomed, except. There's always an except. And this is what I find, and this is why I don't have friends anymore, because it became more and more and more like this. And when they said that everyone was welcomed, and then you think, okay, good, I can just be myself, and then you're yourself, and then people start to, tell you that you should act differently. This is when I really don't like that, and I know it's not everywhere, but this is what I really don't like, and I find this is very prominent nowadays. It's very cliquey, like in schools, like the mean girl kind of vibes. It gives me a little bit like that, and I think if I would find a group of people when in a spiritual sense, I would like the group to be quite small, because I think the smaller the group, the better. I think when groups get too big, you need to put certain rules in place, because it gets out of hand otherwise. And I also think that it would be great, like they do in Friends. You just accept each other's good and bad, because you can see value in everything, and also teaching each other the different sides that you have, and understanding why you think differently, or just establishing some kind of understanding of why everybody stands for what they do. And just because this person doesn't think the way, or just because you might not like tea, for example, and I love tea, doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to you because you think the opposite. It's just like, well, you don't like it because it's too hot, and that's it. You know what I mean? And look, I think I'm a little bit traumatized by people, because I had friends that said, oh my God, I can't believe you're still talking to this person. You need to not speak to this person because I'm not friends with them. Things like this. And it's just strange. And this wasn't when I was a teenager or a child. This was, in my adulthood, which I really don't like. And I think these type of things just scared me off from pursuing or trying to find any kind of groups. Because as soon as I felt like, okay, cool, I have some people to talk to, it just turned sour, and I just can't be bothered with that anymore. I'm done with it.
Really, you want to try like a social experiment where you just put like five Aquarians like together and in a group and see what happens.
You know what? Aquarius.
Would everybody just be like in each corner? Everybody's just in a corner doing their own thing, or they actually talk to each other.
You know what? I actually don't think so. I think Aquarians, they actually love each other. And because we're so curious about things, I think we would have the biggest discussion ever. And it's not about, I think we wouldn't probably have discussions about persuading each other to each other's point of view, but I think everybody would kind of try to understand everyone else's point of view. It's more of, I know me, myself, I like listening to people and not necessarily thinking like they do. I really like to understand why people think the way they do, why they have the opinions that they do. And I've been doing this since I was a kid. My mom said to me I should maybe become a politician because this whole devil's advocate has always been like a thing.
I have to take a little break because my eyes are doing the thing.
What shall we say? I thought I would say something funny, but I just can't come up with anything funny. Wicked, wicked, wicked witch of the west. Our witch is not with us today. It's just a shaman and a vampire here today. Could work, actually. I kind of would have to kill people to drink their blood. Maybe I could just drink the blood out of the bad people? But what if they're not bad?
The thing with the vampires, they were just mentioned that he didn't want to kill people, maybe, or the ethical thoughts about that. There was this idea of like how the romantic vampires kind of killed the idea of vampires in a sense, and it was quite nicely put, because the idea of vampires being in a lot of fiction, of there being like nice vampires, and they're being like they're choosing to just drink animal blood, they're just from the blood bank, and they hate being vampires and la 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 la. Then that's
It's
kind
the
of
vegans that destroyed it.
the vegans. That is, it's taking away this big thing about that. Like even in romantic vampire stories, that's fine, but it has to be like, if there has to be this sort of thing like, okay, the vampire could kill you anytime, it could happen, like this idea that even though love is dangerous, you choose to love, and it goes both ways, because even if the vampire were to really fall in love with a human or like a non-vampire, then they also know, I have my instincts and I might accidentally kill them, and I am a monster and I do kill for blood. And this whole thing that even though that is a thing, you still choose, or you still have like feelings, you still choose to act on them, is a really big thing that's getting completely annihilated with just being like, I just drink from the blood bank. I actually don't like being a vampire. Because you don't have this. It should cost you something to choose such a big love.
It's the, what's it called, conundrum of Louis. Louis the vampire did not want to kill in the beginning. He was just living on the street and drinking blood from rats.
Yeah.
And
The romantic vampire.
unfortunately, yeah, you have to, once you turn into a vampire, you're not human anymore, in a sense of like you need to feed, right? So
good quality feed.
Yeah, I mean, he was not feeling that great. I think even us humans, in a sense, you don't have to be a vampire to have this. I mean, if we don't eat proper food, good food for a few days, a week or two, you'll be probably fine. But if you don't do it for years, then, slowly you will.
Yeah,
I mean, if you would
what
eat,
happens. You kill
yeah,
yourself for that
exactly.
in one way or the other.
Exactly. And I think it's just a fact. If you have a cat and you would feed him vegan food,
Cat will die.
the cat will die. It's just the way it is. And if the vampire doesn't feed itself with blood, then he will die.
Or not die, but he will be very, very,
he will
very
slumber.
undead. Yeah, slumber.
He will slumber.
Not very nice one, no. Not very comfortable.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Like which
distractions coming in from my brain. Have you gotten
yes.
the tarot set yet? Have you received it yet? The
Ukrainian. The Ukrainian Nights. No,
yes.
It said,
okay.
I got an email today and it said it should be with me 3 to 4 days, within 3 to 4 days.
Oh my God. We need to make like a deck reveal or something. Or definitely we have to see it.
I've been waiting for this for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
I bought it. So it was supposed to come in February. And I was thinking to myself, this is perfect for my birthday. But that was like a year prior to that. So I bought it a year before my birthday, but I think they had some issues. There was a lot of delays, but finally. Yeah, I'm looking very, very much forward to it because it's black and white, well, black and brown, beige. kind of color. So there's no colors to it. And then it really reminds me of the Slavic tales.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It's like one of those that I would really like to have, but I haven't found it. Like the real ones. Unless for like 100, 200 euros, you know. I think maybe like these very expensive. But yeah.
I actually got two. I got a small one and a big one, but then I had two of them and I sold one ages ago. What a shame. If I still had it, I could have sent it to you.
Shame.
Yeah, they got
it. Wasn't meant to be.
The only thing with that deck, what I found is like there's two different versions. There's one that is matte and one that is shiny. And I don't really like shiny decks, so I ordered the matte one. And because of the way I shuffle and because I like jumpers, I found it really annoying because it has that rose petal feel to it. And the cards kind of stick together. So they don't really jump out as easily as I would like them to. And I found that really annoying. So I kind of thought to myself, oh, why didn't I just buy this shiny one? Because I have like a humongous deck as well. I kept that one because you can see the artwork very well. So I really love that. Much easier to shuffle. But surely they have this deck still on their website. I think it's from Poland. It's coming from Poland, actually. I should have a look at it, actually.
Yeah, I can check it out.
I don't know. The deck itself is not that much, but it's always the shipping that takes it over to some craziness.
Yeah, sometimes that's insane. Sometimes it's not, but then sometimes it's just
it really
horrendous.
depends.
Yeah. If you have to pay
really
like $100 for shipping from the US, for example, it's like, no, probably not.
Yes.
But no joke. I think like it was a USPS or something. It was like $80 just for shipping from the US or something.
It is ridiculous.
I did it giving like $300. Okay.
I've done that too.
But yeah.
I don't do that often either because I have the first Somnia Tarot, the deck that came out. I got that one, but that was a long time ago. And I think the shipping it was still a lot, but it wasn't too bad. And this time when the Oracle deck came out and then the new version, well, it's still the same deck, but the version without the borders, I just felt like I just wanted to have a version without the borders because I really love the photos. And so I think he did a stretch target as well with the books. And I thought it would be great to have the books. And there's no way I'm going to buy a book and then another book, and then you have to pay for shipping for each item. It's stupid. So I thought, let me just get the Oracle deck, the Tarot deck, and the two books that go with them. Was waiting for that for a long time as well. It was quite expensive. And then because it took so long, things changed and the shipping just became more and more and more expensive. And I just closed my eyes and I thought, okay, I already bought it. I just have to do it. I have to deal with it. It gets to customs. And I also had to pay customs on top of that, which was basically double.
Yeah.
Almost more than the shipping was itself.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And I was like,
that's
oh my
so
gosh.
annoying.
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much it was, but it was disgusting. It is the same thing with this deck. I do love this deck, and I don't remember how much I paid for it. It was a while ago I got it, and now they came out with another deck, also Smith one, looked amazing, and I thought, oh, I'd love to have that. The deck itself is not too expensive, but I think the shipping is like over £40 or something like that.
Oh, that's
so I would pay £85. £85 for this. And I find that just ridiculous. I have to say, like, I really do. The cardstock of this is, I think it's amazing. The cardstock, I love it. Because it's matte. It's not too matte. It's just perfect. I like the feel of it. I know it's not to everybody's liking because this particular one has like the gold all over the place. So I think a lot of people might find that really distracting, but I quite like it. But the other one is like, yeah, the other one is, I think it's called patina or something. So it's like aged. So it looks really nice and aged. And I thought, that's nice. That is me that don't even use Smith decks very often.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was also thinking that there's so many versions of the Smith decks, like so many. And Thoth officially, you just have the one Thoth, and then there's some artists that take.
But do you know why?
Was it like
the reason is copyrights, because the Smith deck is from 1909, whilst I think we still have 9 years or 6 years, something like that, for the Thoth deck to become not copyrighted.
It won't take too long. Just we sneeze 2 times and then the 10 years are over.
Yeah, I mean, I've done my deck.
Yeah.
And I didn't, I didn't bother with that. It's because I'm not really like selling it to masses things. But I mean, it is copyrighted. It's so funny. The first card I pull out is 9 of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just did it anyway because I really wanted to have one with darker borders. But I genuinely think that is the reason, because you can't be mass producing. Well, basically, you won't be able to sell, so all that money would go lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very sure once that gets released, we will see. Well,
we'll probably see more. Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I'm hoping. I still would like to get the Smith deck that comes in with this big Taschen book. I don't know if it's a collector's thing, but it doesn't seem to be. But it comes with a big book, and then it comes with the book of, what is it called? The Key of the Tarot, the key, and then a deck. And I think on sale you can get it for like £80 or so, but they're normally £100. But the reason why I want to get it is because, in my opinion, I think that set has the most genuine print of the cards, as in like the pictures are very on point with how they were from the beginning, and also the backs, they have the pebble back, so the white and the pebbles. And for some reason, my brain is like, I really want that. And it's also quite chunky and big, and I like that. But I'll probably not use it that much anyway. It's an addiction, isn't it?
It's something. Like, it's not as bad as fentanyl, for sure. It's nowhere near any of that. But we do get our dopamine from our decks, don't we? Or it's just something about it.
Yeah, it's yeah, I can't explain it. I spoke about this with Luigi a long time ago, and I said to him, like, many of the decks that I have, it's about the artwork, but it's also about the cardstock and the colors and the way it's printed and just very stupid things like that. And you know that there's a lot of decks that I actually like, but I haven't bought them because I don't like the cardstock, or I don't like the colors, or the size, or there are decks I haven't bought because I don't like few of the cards. I might like 72 cards out of 78. But I don't want to buy it because I don't like the other cards, and if they pop up, I feel annoyed, and I can't have that in a deck. Which is so weird.
I think I'm more like the opposite. It's like, if there is a few cards in there that I really like, then I get like so attracted to it that I have like this, that I might buy it. So I think I have a few decks where there's been a few cards that I really, really liked, and then the rest I'm just like, yes, or I'm just like, yeah, I accept you for who you are, kind of thing, you know.
No.
But but I mean, yeah, I don't use all the decks at the same regularity. I know that you switch through yours quite structured, and I don't do that. but I have my
It depends for what I think. It depends for what when we're doing the weekly pulls, I like to switch up the decks because it's nice to use them, but it's also nice to have a picture of something else.
Yes.
And many times I would like to use my Smith deck, but because Luigi and Adriana uses them, I'm not going to use it because it's just going to be like
we gotta be different. We can't do.
Yeah, I don't want to, everyone should use whatever deck they want. And if I have a few, then I rather just do. But when it comes to my like weekly decks and stuff, I always use the same deck. So it really depends what it is. I think for like little pulls here and there, then yeah. But I do like my Heaven and Earth deck. I think that one is quite... I didn't like it in the beginning. I loved it when I bought it because of the color scheme. But then it was very slippery. And I hated the fact that it's a little bit too shiny and it's very slippery. And I really didn't like it. So I didn't use it for a while.
The Uzi I have is also so slippery, but in a way that it works. It's kind of like the first time I shuffle, like I grab the decks and it's just, I'm like,
yeah.
But it's a deck that actually likes to be spread out like that instead of shuffling like this and then pulling the cards. It actually likes to be fanned out and then you pick the cards, I figure. And this works because then you don't get the... So yeah. But it's very slippery. It's a slippery deck.
Yeah. Some are slippery and some are not. But you know what happened? It's so similar. The packaging is so similar to this one.
Yeah, it is. Is it also Uzi? Yeah, right? And I was just like, slip. You can see it. You can see how slippery it is just from like... Yeah. I really like it though.
I think it's not as slippery as the Heaven and Earth was, I found.
It's this slippery.
It's that slippery.
It's that slippery.
Are you considering of getting the one with no borders and no names on it?
From this one? No, not currently, not considering.
I didn't realize because I was looking at it and it's just artwork, so they don't have any names on them, which is really cool if you have the original deck. If you know. Yeah. If you don't, then it might be a little bit... But you could use it as an intuitive kind of deck as well, which it's not a bad idea.
Also, look at the time. We've totally talked for almost 1.5 hours.
God, we talked about absolutely nothing and everything.
Yes.
Again.
As usual. I think that's a good point to say good night.
And on tarot decks.
Yes. Well, thanks for tuning in and listening to our shenanigans. Lots of talk about zombies and vampires. We keep getting back to stuff like that, don't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, join the madness. See you in the next rabbit hole. Good night.
Bye.
You've been listening to AmeLynn's Corner of Chaos. Well met.